Owens, Corning, duration. Hang on.
Hey, you're live, Garrett. You're talking to the audience. No, but let's give a couple seconds for people to join in here for just a second for those that want to hop on. We're on YouTube and we're on Facebook with the broadcast, so we'll pick up both audiences, which will be fun. So I'm here with Garrett Kurtt from, go ahead and introduce yourself, Garrett. I'll let you do that so I don't mess it up.
Absolutely. Thanks. My name is Garrett Kurtt. I'm the founder of One Click Code. I'm also a fellow roofing contractor and adjuster for the last 13 years. I've been working claims across the United States, mostly in roofing and hail-impacted areas. I reside here in Denver, Colorado, so I haven't had to move much in the last, I'd say, 10 years. So, but I've been in the business for a long time, and I believe that I have a lot to offer you guys here today, and I look forward to chatting with y'all.
Yeah, that's awesome. We've got some really good higher level stuff we're going to talk about. Of course, you can also put your comments and we'll answer some questions too if you want to get those going, but specifically tailored around, where do you want to start, Garrett? I'll let you pick the topic we're going to start with here.
I think the topic we should start with is going to be around re-inspections.
Okay.
And primarily we're going to focus on, hail and wind affected areas. Could be old damage from last year, or, in some cases, if you're able to bring up 2-year-old damage. The newer stuff is going to be hopefully more cut dry, like it's just going to you'll be able to get it approved, but the older stuff. So, a lot of things that are coming up for us in the field, because I still own a roofing company and I'm still talking to lots and lots of contractors out there, is that the insurance companies tend to have the first inspection, and some of them are having the first inspection without the contractor due to COVID.
Right.
And so that comes into play. That can actually come to your advantage. If you think about it, like think about the turning lemons into lemonade, is that if they come out there without you, you do have a second bite at the apple. Meaning, in comparison, if you did go out there the first time and you met with the adjuster and they only gave you a repair to the roof, you'd probably be faced with the obligation to, or the homeowner would be faced with the obligation to find another contractor with a different, or an opinion or an estimate or photographs, because you've already exhausted your one shot at it. So being able to not be present could be the ability for you to come back and have a second inspection on that property with adjuster present. And so, those two can go interchangeably, but at the same time, here's the other rub, is that even if you do get that second inspection, or you only have the first inspection, you still need to overcome the objection, which is most of the insurance companies are asking for a second opinion, and that does not mean you. So just because you have photographs, just because you have another estimate, you didn't offer it before, doesn't mean that by offering it now, it's somehow going to be new evidence to them. They're looking for a different perspective. They're looking for something to collaborate with you or with the homeowner to be able to pay for more damage. It's not that they're not wanting to. They've already exhausted that, and so they're looking for someone else to come to the table and bring photographs. So they'll say, we're looking for another contractor's photographs and estimate. They sometimes require both. I've heard just more or less just photographs that document it differently with a second opinion.
So they'll come out and they'll do the first inspection. You're saying a ladder assist is doing that now, or is it the actual adjuster coming out, but you're not meeting them at that point? What are you seeing more of?
I'm seeing both. So I'm seeing the ladder adjuster, the ladder assist actually meeting with the contractors.
Okay.
I'm actually seeing it where the staff is not meeting, and so they're going out without. Or if you're there, they'll ask you to stand off to the side. And if that's the case, I'd rather stand off and not even be there, because being there present is just as being on the roof. Like, they can claim, well, you're there with the adjuster. I'd rather not be present at all for it, if that's the case.
So you would actually just skip that meeting and say, hey, wasn't able to make it, need a re-inspect, or what? That would be your next time.
Yeah, I mean, I would say that, I would give a little more credence to the adjuster. The adjuster's going to go up there and look at the things that they're authorized to look at. That might not be all the things that should be paid for. Just so keep in mind that me not being there will have the ability for us to have a second inspection at a later date with the items they missed, and which I believe that they will. And just based on my experience of thousands of claims, that's generally the case. It's been very rare where they've paid for everything. I'm like, oh, there's nothing. So actually, I don't think it's ever happened. So maybe a difference of me actually acting on it, but I've never found a time on a claim probably where they've paid for everything. And I'm like, wow, don't have to do anything.
Yeah.
So, but yeah.
And then what if they deny the reinspect, or what if they, still leave, don't buy the roof, if you will, at that time?
So it depends on the insurance company, but a lot of them are moving towards that. We've come out, we've already exhausted that one shot at the apple. Homeowner needs to have someone else come out, and so then, or get another estimate. And you're like, well, I have a signed contract. I'm the contractor of choice. You can't have the homeowner direct the repairs. You can't influence or interfere because we've already have a signed contract. So that's the rub, right? So there's a couple ways to get around that, and I'd say get around it. It's just creative, thinking. And I think that, looking at it from a place of like, okay, they are looking for something to trigger reinspection. They're giving me and telling me that it has to be another contractor. They just say that it has to be an independent person. They use the word contractor, but it just needs to be somebody independent that's not associated with the company or that job. So if you're able to find someone that works for another roofing company, or someone that technically that's an independent inspector or an independent salesperson for another organization, then you could have them go out there, take some photographs, submit them. And sometimes they don't even require an estimate. They're just looking for photographs to be submitted. And that will trigger the second inspection. And they'll probably be asking you to do the same thing. Now, granted, don't do that if there isn't damage. I mean, don't be saying just go out there, take photographs of, bird crap. But if there is damage, then it's justifiable. But don't be making up damage and using that as a way to get a second inspection just to see if another adjuster will come out and magically think that damage exists and you'll get it paid for. Be honest about it if you're going to go that route.
Right. Yeah. But that's a very creative way of just saying, hey, this is a second opinion. There is damage here. You're not doing anything untoward by asking someone else to help you and get that done for you. Yeah, that's a really creative way around it. And then go ahead.
Yeah, I was going to say, like, you could pay money. So if you think about getting an engineer, could be one step further, but that's going to cost you $200 to $400. Is that the right step? So there's also an engineer that you could get in there. If you want to stick to your guns and say that, I'm not going to have another contractor out there, and you're going to start rubbing against their policy, because that's, whether it's right or wrong, that's their policy. And it's not the policy of insurance, it's just their internal policy, right?
Right.
And so the way around that also is to, elevate it to a supervisor. As you know, supervisors won't talk to you generally. So it's going to be the homeowner that needs to do it. So the homeowner needs to feel comfortable with elevating it. Most don't, I would be honest. Yeah. So that's a way to do it, is working in the supervisor. Agent, I would say that there's an opportunity for you to connect with the agent. They've already filed a claim. The agent's not going to, and there's probably not a $0 claim, so that there's no rub against the agent. So they do want to make sure that they have a client that's happy and customer service is there. So the agent could get involved, but just be mindful. A lot of the agents, nothing against them, but some of them have better relationships with the actual claims departments or claims managers than the other ones. So like State Farm is really connected. They really trust their agents, or they really push their agents. Farmers is another one that really pushes their agents. Whereas other books of business could be going through an agent that has like 5 different insurance companies. You could have Travelers, Hartford, and Safeco, Liberty, all through one. And so they may not have that same connection. So just be mindful about that. If there's an agent presence, then that you should definitely utilize that to be able to elevate that.
Yep.
And then, taking it one step further, and this is last resort, but it does work. It's very specific. You could file an insurance complaint with the Department of Insurance specifically for the fact that they're requesting a second inspection, and that they're denying that second inspection with the contractor of choice. So mind you, contractor of choice would be you, and they're not supposed to, getting a second opinion is there, but you might be able to get it through that way. I've worked it that way too. And depending on the state, so I don't want you guys to do anything illegal, but depending on the state, they can authorize the homeowner can authorize the contractor to file that complaint upon their behalf.
Right, and you can check with the Department of Insurance for your state to figure out what the protocol is. That's what we did here in Utah. We're like, how do we get this insurance company accountable? Went to the Department of Utah Insurance, and they gave us the exact process of what we needed to do with that homeowner.
Well, they're public servants. You just ask them questions, and you just keep on asking. And then if it doesn't work, they tell you to get this document, and you send it in, and all of a sudden it comes back and it doesn't work. You're like, okay, what should I be doing differently? Oh, you need to notarize it. Okay, we will notarize it from now on, and this will go through. Like, it's just these small little, administrative things that could make a big difference. But ultimately, you're going to learn the process, and it's state by state.
It's state by state, and being creative is what's key here, and then also just pushing it as far as you can go and not giving up. That really, I think, is the key takeaway too.
Mm-hmm.
Is pushing all the different areas.
Being resilient to
resilient.
To your purpose and to the purpose of wanting to make sure that, you know, the homeowner is getting exactly what they need, you know, whether it's a new roof, whether it's new windows, whether it's whatever. We're picking roof topic today because that's just something that is heavily, you know, debated across the country is roofing claims. So,
and those are the ones that usually send out ladder assist, right? If you have an interior flood, they're not going to send out ladder assist. So it's a little bit different. So so it's a little different animal. Okay, with that, do you want to move to the second point about we were talking earlier about, you know, space decking as an issue. You know, code is, you know, requires a lot of states, requires you to put down, you know, solid decking. So can we go into that a little bit and speak to that, Garrett?
Yeah, so we have before 1963, 64, OSB wasn't really manufactured or prevalent, so they were used with nominal lumber. And nominal lumber is just 1x6s, 1x8s, could be 1x4s, could be 1x10s that are sometimes butted up pretty closely, or there's like a gap, right? And so I don't want to I make sure that's not confused with spaced sheathing or skip sheathing. Mm-hmm. Those are generally what you find underneath old wood shakes, where there's like 4-inch gaps, and then there's a board, 4-inch gap, and another board. And those are underneath generally with wood shakes, or wood shakes with multiple layers, as a lot of you have probably seen. So when I'm saying nominal lumber, it's just the nominal lumber that was, you know, pine that was cut down. It's 1 inch thick, roughly 3/4 inch, 1 inch thick, and it's either 1x8s, 10s. It goes up to 12s. I've seen sometimes it's 14s. Yeah. And there's sometimes they're 1/2 inch gaps, sometimes there's a inch gap, sometimes there's a 1/4 inch gap. And what you'll find is it varies throughout the entire roof, right? It'll be all over the place. And so we're going to stay specifically on that type of redex and, you know, resheathing opportunities, because the other ones, when there's like 3/8, it's like it's been nailed like 10 times. This is the 10th roof to go into it, or, you know, that's 24 inches on center and it's sagging. Those things, that's a whole different thing that we can get into. But we're gonna talk right around nominal lumber and homes built before 1964 that aren't wood shakes. And so with that nominal lumber, we have two opportunities to be able to have provide ample proof to be able to say that new sheathing needs to be done, regardless whether you're in the insurance biz or you're in retail. Manufacturers actually state in page 1, page 1, it says that, you know, they'll specify that 1x6 or greater needs to have sheathing, or needs to have a solid sheathing surface. Solid sheathing surface is going to be your OSB or CDX. There is one manufacturer that decided to reverse that about 4 years ago, and they went reverse. So Owens Corning now says 1x6 or greater is okay, but anything less than 1x6 needs to have a redeck. Everybody else is the other way around. Anything less than 1x6 doesn't need a redeck. Anything greater needs to have a redeck. That is the manufacturer specifications. That's one angle. I don't know many people that actually go after that. And if you're listening, I hope that's one of those ways, but that's one way. The second way is the gaps. And so they'll say between the two, and this is where the city can get involved too, is between the two, if it's greater than 1/8 of an inch, it needs to have new sheathing, or it's greater than 1/2 an inch, it needs to be new sheathing laid over the top. And then the city also may have their own interpretation, which is 1/4 inch. I've seen things in Nebraska that says, you know, I think it's like no greater than the size of a nail. So if the gap's bigger than a nail and a nail can fit in there freely, it needs to have new sheathing put down. You know, it's like, so there's a combination there that you can use both on the width of the board as well as the gap. If you use both of those, you'll have a substantially higher success of getting approval from the insurance company. If you just use gaps, I've found it very, very hard to get approval. Very hard. But if you use both the gaps and the width, I've found great success. And doing it before you start the work is so important.
Yes. So absolutely.
When we first did this, we were doing Cleveland, Ohio, and there was redex. We had about 35 redex. After the 5th one that we just started doing them because we'll get them approved in the back end. We had 5 denials in a row. We're like, okay, no more installations without pre-approval. And so from there on out, we had pre-approval of redex.
Nice. Ray says he's used both. So yeah, he's found good success with that. He's a go-getter. Ray's awesome. So cool, yeah. So you know it works. If it's using a double-edged sword there. That's amazing. Would you say have anything to speak to as far as raising, the lumber prices rising and them just wanting to deny it because, yeah, it's going to be expensive to do the redeck? Do you have any thoughts to that at all? Or do we just need to fall back on these issues that we just discussed?
So I think there's two prongs to this, is that I would be utilizing it as a reason to be able to update the price list, because sometimes they don't update price lists. I think it would be a great reason to update price lists,
Okay.
to next month. And then when after they update the price list and the price still didn't go up high enough, then ultimately you're going to be just giving them your lumber price. You're going to be giving what you paid, whether you paid through ABC, SRS, or you went to Home Depot. Home Depot is going to be a little bit less, probably 15 to 20% less, depending on the time that you bought it from Home Depot. So you might make out better buying from Home Depot or Lowe's, especially in volume. I know that all of our redecks, anything greater than 20 squares, we buy directly from Lowe's and Home Depot. So
interesting. Cool.
Yeah.
Okay.
And then just on pricing alone, I think it's just one of those things where, if you're not doing the pricing update, I think it's just showing them and just doing the comparison. Like, look, I'm going to get another $300 by showing them my material price. And then the last is making sure that you're using RFG and not FRM.
Right. That's a huge issue. Yeah. People don't catch that and then lose tons of money. That's a good little tiny error that will cost you thousands.
Yeah, and so if you ever see an estimate that the pricing for decking is really low, don't assume that they're modifying the pricing. Just check and see if you change yours to FRM, that your price goes down to what they are. That's probably what they're using as FRM.
That's framing. A really good tip. Yeah, I forgot to mention that could be just the issue that's simple and easy to fix. It's crazy. Awesome. And I had another thought and it went out my brain. So anyways, no, that sounds really good. There's a lot there that it's a big issue a lot across the country. Oh, H clips. Yep. Ray's on us. He's saying get those H clips in there. That's right. Yep. And that's some extra money you'll scoop up too. Well, cool. Garrett, thanks for being with us. Now, Garrett is the creator of an app called One Click Code that we absolutely love over here at Xactimate Mastery. I think absolutely everybody should be using. So I'm going to give him a couple of minutes just to talk about that briefly. And it's a great tool that sounds like it might become industry standard like Eagle Views, hopefully for you in the coming time period. So that would be awesome. So it's something that's going to be up and coming. You're going to see a lot more of, and maybe even see insurance companies using it in the future. We're hoping.
Yeah, definitely.
Yeah. So go ahead and I didn't. If you want to share your screen or whatever you want to do here, I didn't really prepare you for that. I kind of rolled right into it. So
are you seeing my screen right now? What do you see?
Right now I see the decking on your screen, but let me just, if you just let me know when you're ready and we'll be good to go. Tons of our members are already using One Click Code, and there's so there's the decking that we're seeing.
Let me change this quick. One Click Code. So that's skipped sheathing.
That's what we were talking about earlier. Yeah. Oh, there we go. There's the app. So take it away.
Thanks. So I really appreciate your time and plugging us here. So I've been in the business for 13 years. As part of that, I've dealt with a lot of pricing discrepancies and pricing issues, and a lot of things that came back to code and manufacturer specifications. So 4 years we set out to be able to start at a very minimum level to be able to find building codes across the United States. So we currently cover, I think, about 18,000 cities and counties, which is quite an undertaking. And we're specifically going after roofing codes right now. We will be expanding later, including decking, but it's right now we're just going after roofing. And I'll show you an example roofing report here in a second. We're on iOS and Android as well as the web. So we have supplementers that are using us from the desktop. We have contractors and adjusters out in the field. We have about 4,500 adjusters that currently use us. Nice. We have about 8,400 contractors that currently use us out in the field. So it's definitely represented both sides. And we have insurance companies emailing us all the time, praising how great this is and how they're utilizing this as part of their adjusting practices. And so the more you guys use it, the more they see it, the more they research it, the more they accept it, the faster it becomes of getting supplements approved. And let me explain what I mean when I get on here quick. Let me sign in. Might take a second.
That's all right. That's all right.
And so, so here's an example report. You'll be entering in your address up here. This is the dashboard.
We actually can't see it. I'm so sorry. It might be because you, I don't know if it would open another screen.
Yeah, it did. Shoot. Hang on one second. It's one of those things where it jumps into another screen.
No worries. No worries. There we go.
There we go.
This is as if you're logged in. The other was the oneclickcode.com. This is if you're logged in, right?
Yeah, this is when you're logged in. This is the actual dashboard right here. So you can pick a claim. You can add a claim number so that it's specific to this job. You type in an address. I'm just going to give you a quick one. It literally comes back within seconds. And what shows up is jurisdiction having authority. And for those that don't know, jurisdiction having authority is a big issue. So every property gets assigned an address and a city name, but it doesn't mean, as you guys know, that's actually in that city. If you pull a permit, it could be in the village, the township, it could be in the county. And so what we're doing across the country is identifying which jurisdiction has authority over that property address, and then we're going to give you the codes associated with that. So although this is Inglewood, Colorado, it's controlled by Arapahoe County. The sales tax is different. This is huge too. We actually give you address-specific sales tax, and then we get into specifics around the contact municipality. We give you a phone number, so if you're out in the field, you can quickly just dial that number, and it goes right to the building department. You can go to their website, and for those that want to know who it is, the chief building official, you can obviously call and say, "Hey, can I talk to Joe Richards?" And that's just a quick way of being able to, if you want to verify us or if there's something more that we're not offering on a report that you need to verify, go ahead and give them a call or email them.
Right.
So down below we have, this is a residential claim. And so, and you can pick when you go in whether residential or commercial. So it will show you residential or commercial codes depending on what you pick. And it will give you the answers, yes, no, really quick. And so there's areas in Colorado where elevation plays a role in ice and water shield. So that would pop up. It would say a yes if it was over X amount of feet. But right now it's currently showing no. And so if I click on this, what's going to pop up is documentation from the building department saying that ice and water shield's not required. I'm going to show you here in a second. 1 second. Here you go.
Yeah.
And there you go.
Cool.
And it pops up. And so that's what you get to see. And it will also show you when ice and water shield is required. Just keep in mind that we want to be transparent. So we're showing both sides. In order to gain trust with the insurance industry, we must show both sides. So although ice and water shield means you guys will get paid more, which I totally agree with if it's justified, but at the same time, we want to make sure that if it's a no, the insurance company and you know that very clearly. So we're showing both sides.
Awesome.
All right. So let me load this back up. So what we also have is a PDF, and this PDF is called the code detail. Now this is opening another button. Let me just go here. And
this is what you would send to the adjuster, right, with your supplement? Okay.
This is a PDF. So instead of taking screenshots, and for those that don't know this and still taking screenshots, you don't have to take screenshots. In the lower right-hand corner, click the blue button, and you can make these PDFs all day. So here's the PDF. Here's some more information. We do have hailstorm data. This is in beta right now. So some of you guys are using it right now. This is currently in beta. We're still refining the algorithm to make sure all of our hail sizes and location are correct. And there's some pockets here and there that we're still trying to make sure that we have accurate data on.
So that's going to give you a storm date and a size of hail is what I'm thinking is, right?
Storm date. Yep.
Cool. Awesome.
And then for those that need visual, and some adjusters are and some contractors are, this is a good way for you to quickly understand what is what. So we have an illustration of the roof. We also very clear on what is required, which is not. Ice and water shield is not required here. Drip edge is required. And here's the big thing that we've noticed, depending on where you're in the country and depending on how, I guess, how much training both the contractor and adjuster have, is valley liner. So when you have a closed valley, most people don't, I shouldn't say, a lot of people don't know that you're supposed to actually have a valley liner underneath that valley. So not only is it closed, but you're supposed to have a valley liner. And some people get confused with a valley metal is only when it's open. You don't need anything when it's closed. And that's actually not true. You do definitely need a valley liner. So those that are supplementing right now and that are not asking for a valley liner on a closed valley, definitely be asking for it. And here's the justification for it. Here's the actual codes from the code book right here.
Yeah, that's awesome. So that's hundreds of dollars per estimate right there. If you do, I don't know, 20 roofs a month, then yeah, you're probably $5,000 or more. Maybe get behind.
Yep. And so even if you have open valleys, this is another thing. Open Valley has a valley liner underneath that valley too. So just see here, 3A's, Open Valley, that's the center right there. And then there's a valley liner behind it. Here's your closed valley liner. So either way, regardless if it's open or closed, you're adding a valley liner.
That's amazing. Yep. I didn't know that back when I supplemented 3 years ago, and I left hundreds of thousands of dollars maybe.
Yep. And then we create this PDF, as well as we have down here the actual code amendment down at the bottom. So if it said yes, you wouldn't even need to merge these PDFs. They're automatically merged for you. They're also water stamped with the address of the job, because a lot of times they're going to be asking, well, how do we know this is specific to the job? I mean, that's just an excuse, but we're giving everything that's specific to the job address. That's
amazing. And so there, that table you just pulled from the, all the code right there.
This is their document.
Yep,
their document. The actual document from Arapahoe County.
That's awesome. That's so much work that you just saved everybody. That's crazy. Thanks. I love that. That's amazing. And then also go ahead. I think you have some.
We also have manufacturer specifications. So those that don't know about it, it's really quick. It's like it does a line by line distinction between what's code and what's not code and what's by manufacturer specs. And so I'll just show you really quick. If you pick GAF, let me just pick a different address because that's gonna be a lot easier. Do we have time for that, or do you want me to?
Oh yeah, no, it's fine. Yep.
Minnesota doesn't require a drip edge, and a lot of people, I should say, a lot of the adjusters don't know that. So
interesting.
Know that, but here's a new report. So we're going to pick residential. Boom.
And anyone who's just joining us, we're talking with Garrett from One Click Code. So to prove your code for your supplements, that's what we're talking about. It's really awesome. So definitely pay attention here as he walks us through this.
So we're going to pick manufacturer. GAF requires drip edge, and we're going to go to at least on their Timberline HDs. So we're going to create a report. So in Minnesota, imagine you going back, replacing a roof. You have to follow manufacturer specs. Manufacturer specs is required by code. There's no drip edge in the house. You're saying, hey, we need new drip edge. Adjuster says, well, we're not going to pay for drip edge. It's not present, and it's not required by code. You're going to say, wait, it's required by the manufacturer. So here's the comparison. This is the code for Minnesota. Yes, no, yes, no. And then here's the GAF requirements. If it's a yes by GAF, it becomes a yes. If it's a yes by Minnesota, it's a yes. The only time it's no is when they both say no.
Right. So, yep. So as long as there's a yes, a little green yes there that it's required, then that's all you need. And it's no conversation needs to happen. It's like it just is. So that's awesome. Yep. So that's how detailed it is. Yep. It's amazing.
So let me just show you here quick. Oh, you guys can see it or not see it?
Can't see what you're talking about right now.
Okay, here you go.
There you go. Yep. Perfect.
So there you go. I thought I had it up.
It's okay. Yeah, there's the yes, no, and the drip edge no, but GAF says yes, therefore it's required, and that's why you have the green yes over to the right, which is so helpful.
Yep, and this is for the basic warranty, not to be confused with, like Master Elite type warranties when you're doing plus. I forget all those different types of warranties. This is for the basic warranty. If they already had a better warranty and there's already ice and water shield present, or there's already drip edge present, well, then that changes. That's a whole different story. But when the drip edge is not present and you're just installing a basic warranty because that's what they had before, then this is what you use.
Awesome. Yeah. Does it go for ice and water also if they don't have code coverage? Can you speak to that question?
Yes, if a manufacturer will require ice and water shield, then oh man, that's so tough. I guess it's really complicated. I don't think we should go there yet.
Okay.
But the answer is when they don't have code coverage and a manufacturer says something, there's things in state laws that can help in every state that can help you get that covered.
Yes, and it's also hard because I've been paying as a normal homeowner. I've been paying for code upgrade for 30 years. My neighbor does it, but yet they want the same treatment. That's another issue too. It's really hard, but yeah, you can try to lean on those manufacturer specs because that's not really code. It's just at that point you're selling an improper roof system or installing
defective. You would be installing defective. Yeah.
You'd be installing a defective roof system at that point. So take that for what it's worth, but that's kind of the direction you can go. But this is great because it shows that the manufacturer is yes, right, and we don't have to go and do all that research ourselves. But it's just a quick couple clicks that gets you that information, which is amazing.
Yep. And so last but not least, we do have the hail date or hail report, which is right here at the bottom. So you click on that. It's going to pop into another window, and just give me a second. I'll pull it back in for us.
Sure.
So this is actually pretty quick considering how much data we're pulling in, but we go back, I think, 8 or 9 years. Here you go. And then here's the report. So at least to 16. And so it goes back at location, 1 mile, 2 mile, 3 mile. So really quick, easy way to be able to be, if you're out in the sales process, if you're out with an adjuster, you're doing supplementing or whatever it may be, quickly get a report from us on that.
That's awesome. And I love that little diagram on the right.
Yeah.
How big is
it's
it?
not true to size, but
yeah, it's true. It gives a great example.
Yep.
So.
And so how do you find us? You would find us at oneclickcode.com. You can find us on the Apple or Android store. You can also go to oneclickcode.com and then click on this little link at the bottom for either one of your stores, and it will pull up our app. We have a 14-day trial. You sign up today. It's 14 days for free. You can use it nationwide, 20 reports. If you guys like what we offer, which we hope you do, we offer a plan for one state. We have 80% of our contractors are on one state, and then we have national, which is anything that's more than one state. So if you're doing 2, 3, 4 states, that would be on the national plan. The difference between a Pro and a Pro Plus really just comes down to the number of reports. So you get 20 reports here versus 40 projects here, so you double it. And you also can run it with a larger team. We don't charge by user. We don't believe in that. We're just charging you by reports. And so you can sign up to 50 users to be on your plan so that you could actually share that with your team.
That's awesome. Yeah, that's amazing.
So just be mindful. It's not reports, it's projects. So what I just showed you both on the detail, the hail report, and the manufacturer report, that's considered one project. So you can do all 3 or 4 of those things on one project. Although you're getting multiple reports, that's still one project. So you get 40 of those per month. If you go over on the national plan, it's $2.50, and we just bill you at the end of the month. If it's a local plan, I think it's $2 per report or $2 per project. If you go over the 20 or 40, depending on what plan you're on.
And it gets hundreds of dollars, if not thousands, paid on each and everything that you send in.
We have people that pay in advance for the full year underneath the one state. I think it's like $288 because with the discount. And literally they use our report once and it pays for the entire year. It's a no-brainer. So we're not trying to get rich in this. We really, I believe in this product. I've made it. I've invested millions of dollars into it. I really want to see the industry rise. And I also want to have transparency in the marketplace, because ultimately that's a big thing between code and manufacturer specifications. So we're in the stepping stone. We're not there yet by any means, but we're taking a big chunk out of most of the line items that are on a lot of the claims.
And you're adding new stuff all the time too. That hail, I didn't see. I talked to you probably a couple months ago, and I hadn't seen that. Yeah. So y'all are continually, adding new features and improving and getting better. It's amazing. It's so great. So
yeah. So with the money that we get, we keep on expanding. Sheathing has been a hot topic. We keep on hearing about it. The more people that subscribe, the more that we have money to be able to put towards those resources to make that happen.
Yeah, that's going to be awesome if you can release that. And we did discuss that earlier. It's going to be kind of a per project kind of thing you have to take on, but
we're still out there. We're gonna beta test. We're gonna figure out what works best. Either it's gonna be like a very specific report around sheathing. Give us some photographs. Tell us what you're putting on for manufacturer. A little more one-to-one, and then we'll give you an actual report that's from us saying what should be done. It's gonna be very specific. If we give you just like, oh, it's 1/4 inch gaps and 1/2 inch gaps, and you have to have 3/8 or greater on 24 inches on center, it doesn't really do a lot for you with the insurance company. It's just like, look, One Click says it needs to be, 1/4 inch gaps. Like, they're not going to pay you $6,000 for new sheathing because One Click. Well, maybe they would actually, based on the trajectory right now and how we're getting received by the insurance company. But I'm just saying, like, that small little detail probably wouldn't be enough to justify a large payment like that.
Right. Interesting. Yeah, because it is on the higher end, right? Valley liner, yep. A couple hundred, a couple hundred putting on the roof, but yeah, you get the sheathing, you're getting it up there. So that's awesome.
They're going to scrutinize it a lot more.
Yeah, that's awesome. Thank you. I was going to say, I don't know if I'm saying your name right, Kaylee. You're awesome. Thanks. I just want to give you a shout out for following and being an adjuster willing to think in this direction, because that will make you go far as far as knowing what to do that's right and fair to the homeowner. So thanks for saying that, and thanks for following. All right, Garrett, any last words before we wrap up here?
No, I really appreciate you having me. So have me again. I'd love to be there.
Okay, absolutely. And we're going to go ahead and say goodbye or good night for those that are watching live, and we'll see you around the bend.
We'll see you guys.